going on? What's going on? What's going on, everyone? How's everybody feeling? How's everybody feeling? So, I just want to take this opportunity to welcome everybody. We just take a moment. Just take a moment, make sure everybody is on and everybody is here. So excited. Let's make sure everything is good. Let's make sure everything is live. And we are live on all channels. That's what I'm talking about. All right, cool. We are live and ready to go on all channels. We good on Facebook Live. We good on YouTube. We are ready to rock and roll, man. I'm so excited. All right. This is a celebration. Shackled freedom, Black living in the modern American South. This is my baby right here. Right? This thing right here, it's my baby. It took a long time to work on. I'm excited that Willow Books was willing to pick it up and publish it. It's a wonderful press that I'm happy to be a part of. And tonight, I called in some friends to help celebrate this moment, to be able to share with me, because that's what I believe. I believe in community, and I didn't want to do this by myself. I wanted to make sure I had some folks come through, and we're going to turn this over and get right into it so they can share for y'all. And then we can go ahead and I can talk to y'all a little bit about what this book is. So here's what we're going to do. Yes. We're going to celebrate. We're going to have a good time. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and call the poet that I asked to set this thing off. Now, my brother know I like to have him set stuff off because I know how it go down whenever he do. I know that whenever I want him to come through, he's always ready to show completely out. And so thank y'all so much. I see the comments. I see the folks sending love. I appreciate that. And I'm going to be right over there in them comments with y'all. Tonight, we're going to hear from 4 amazing artists. We also got a little something up our sleeves. And then after that, I'm going to be able to share this work with y'all. I wish we could do this in person, but hey, we wouldn't have somebody sharing with us all the way from Berlin, Germany, if we were doing this in person. So I'm glad that all the folks can be able to participate and enjoy this moment. So my brother is known for setting off, and if y'all know like I know, you know how he do. We've been at this a long time, man. We're business partners. We run a couple different businesses. We've put on a bunch of events. So definitely I couldn't have a moment like this without making sure he was a part of it. Black Poetry Theater is our theater company. We ran one of the longest running open mics around, City Soul Cafe open mic, 8 years strong. We've done all kinds of other things. We've worked with a number of different organizations, man. But, I asked them to come through and get back to that pen and that paper for us. So without further ado, man, let's bring out Church DaPoet. Hey, man. I see you over there, Fedora ready. I see you.
You know how I was gonna have to do it, but if I had known we was wearing t-shirts, I would have went home and just.
I'm only wearing this one because you made it. You know what I mean? That's that official Dasan Ahanu collection. I had to let the people know. These are available on my website, DasanAhanuStore.com, in case you just want to jump in one. And this brother right here is my personal printer who makes sure these JRC3 designs and t-shirts. All right, man, y'all go ahead and rock for the people.
All right. So of course Dasan asked me to be a part of this, and brother, I appreciate what you've been doing for the community of Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, to continue to keep pushing everyone around you. So of course, I had to go and get some work. And so tonight, as much as I hate reading poems, tonight I'm gonna be reading a few pieces. And this is one of the first pieces I wrote in 2020. So let's get into it. I have to be honest. I haven't been in a place to write, to hear the cries for help, to understand what God is trying to say. I thought I was ready to ride into 2020 like this was my year. This will be the time I put pen to paper and take my place over there, right here, right there in front of you. Then life hit. It changed. It took a detour down an old southern dirt road of hurt, pain, conviction, and purpose. I wasn't ready to work through the times I'd read about biblical, and hoping this wasn't close to anything like that till what we all known and knew shifted, made us sit in place. I think I miss hugs and seeing the whites of your eyes. I've never been able to be the person to sit still. I'm not the sit still type, so I found myself constructing the memories of yesterday, how to build myself up without you. Now all I want to do is hold you, talk to you, converse, and read your emotions like Reader's Digest. I digress. I'm a mess some days, but I'm better on days I can hold your attention. I have to be honest, I am no tank, so I bangs my heart against my rib cage, hoping to break free. I have to be honest, I've never understood why my mother made sure I knew how to navigate the races of all races, humans. And fighting for equality now feels like what she lived through with her mother, my grandmother, heart and soul, my Dr. J mixed with magic, Jordan Edinburgh. She invented black girl magic. My father taught me how to jump fences. Funny, the fences now look like the color barriers. I buried my emotions to pillows until I learned how to use the pen and pad to release. Pull, aiming at your heart from stages. This stage I'm in now feels empty, hollow. Point me to the nearest therapy session. Guns drawn on black canvas, blank canvas. Color inside the black lines, the only way to make the picture perfect. First sign of racism. So we colored, we painted. We can't remove the marker from our face, permanent skin tone. Don't use that tone. Stand up straight. We've been over backwards too long. Someone tell me what the world needs now. Sing me a song. Tell me how to stop hiding in plain sight. Tell me how to teach my daughter how not to fear death or have thoughts of daddy not going to make it home today from a traffic stop. I tried to stop, but the tears have a mind of their own. I have to be honest. I wasn't ready to, or nor did I plan to write this. I had no intention of posting this. This is me sitting at the computer screen crying my heart out and just typing what I've been feeling. My life matters. Your life matters. Black lives matter. We matter. You can't take that from me. You don't have the right to remain silent anymore. Scream, yell, fucking say something, anything. I'm talking to you. Yes, you who won't hold. I won't hold it against you. Speak. Talk, sing, recite, mime, play an instrument, strum a soul next to you. You are now responsible for what you do next. Not doing anything will not help us get through this. Remember, I love you. Signed, Conscious. That was my first piece back. 2020, it was rough for a lot. I lost some friends. I lost a close friend. I lost an uncle. I lost some family. We lost a poet on Friday out of Connecticut. It's just life is what it is now, and we have to make sure we continue to keep pushing. And with that being said, I have two daughters. One is about to be 8, and the other is 21. And this poem is to my daughter Grace. The poem I never planned to write. The one that just fell in my lap. The one that God said he was ready to hear. Prayer he heard her mother pray for 4+ years. The letter he heard her read out loud. I never expect to be caught up in the emotions of how someone so small, eyes shaped like honesty we lost. Smells like a bridge through family curses. You saved me. Yep, I can say you changed me. You and your sister, father, who was dying to be loved, who believed that you could change me into a putty, love-filled clay. You see, you are God's grace. Dipped in heaven, covered in grace, my second chance. She embodies the feelings we can't always express. She found a way to permanently fix the smile upon our faces. So I can only imagine what she'll start when she sees the patients and be able to put them back together. Only wish she could have fixed us. The perfect offspring to fall in love with the vivid colors of love. We are all waiting for her to blossom. She reminds me that words do matter, that God hears and answers prayers, that walking through life with no purpose can't exist, that leaving it all on stage was the best way, that the poem I was writing her into would be life-changing. No matter how you see it, she was heaven sent, a blessing. You were forgiveness wrapped in innocence. In a sense, I was now about to have to raise myself so I could raise you. I'm teaching her how to use duct tape, just in case she has to fix someone else's life, wrap them and bound them together till they remember how they were and where they came from. Although I wasn't planning to write this poem, you're here, right here, over there. I lose everything again just to watch you steal my heart out my chest. The precious Lamb of God, you're special. No one can take that away from you. You're from me. You're from your mother. You're mine. You're ours. The perfect mixture of you and your mother. God sprinkled you perfectly. There are days when I laugh inside because I can see the both of us in you. Learning how to navigate fatherhood. You scribbled "I love you, Daddy" on the refrigerator in permanent marker. I wanted to be mad, but I was happy to know that you love me enough to leave something in my life permanent. You teach me that I matter, that words matter, and so does uncontrollable laughter, hug, the shoulder rubs and squeezes. There are some days that just the best place to be is in Daddy's arms, tucked under his heart. Grace and Jada, Daddy loves you both. The greatest poems I ever wrote are living, breathing symbols of my life, and I love you. Whew. Got a little emotional in that one. Oh, Lord. It's been a while. For all those that are following and listening, make sure you check out, like Dasan was talking about, if you're not following on Instagram, make sure you check out Black Poetry Theater, Church DaPoet, JRC3 Designs, Foreplay NC, also the Complex, which is where I'm at in the spot in Durham, Art Space, recording studio. We do photography and videography here. So if you need a spot to do a birthday party or just have a show or listening party, come through the Complex. This is my last piece. I want to appreciate my brother, Dasan Ahanu. Congratulations on your book, as well as if everyone's heard me talk before, we talked about another poet and I wrote a book together, book of quotes. Today we found out that it's actually live on live on Amazon. It's called Life in Our Quotes. Probably can't see it. But the book will be up. We'll post it up later, let you know where to go get it. Nikita J, as myself, put this book together a while ago. We're just finally putting it out. So here we go. Last piece. I've been dealing with love and how to get your emotions out and how to deal with those things. So this piece is simply about falling in love. I ain't never been good at hiding from my emotions. Never afraid to let them show. Like commercials were built into my voice cord. I sang my heart out for you. Tears till the tears were only words left, and now we've left this space empty with uncertainty. Understand that they will never forget what we meant to each other, but there are days when I can't control how they appear. Emotions causing a 5 o'clock traffic jam with no DJ to conduct this rhyme. You got me in a box, tied, looking for ways to cleanse the area from scars and bruises of falling head over heels into your life, broken. The fall was epic. I dropped off the face of the earth to hide in your bosom. I got caught up trying to pick myself up with your smile. God gave you a gift of sunshine between your chin and nose. Those dimples of joy captured me like an afterthought in a throwback Thursday picture. The picture of you and line the walls of my heart is losing color. I need to take more, but I haven't seen you in person. And when we do, it's all about, we wish it was about, I can feel the drought in my eyes that are going through. Help me erase that past and only live in the present of our future. I'm emotionally unstable without you as my balance beam, my queen of hearts and my daily affirmation, Sade, soldier of love for you. I pray to God that you will pick me and only me, for I am cherry picking near the entry of your heart, your soul. Let's pray. Dearly beloved, we are gathered together, all waiting here for this moment, looking for the look of love, praying we find it. So let the church say, Thank you, Dasan Ahanu. Cheers. Wish I had some poetry punch. I forgot mine at the crib. But congratulations on the next book, man, and the next venture, and the next lifetime, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. Because we can't stop. We won't stop.
I appreciate you, bro. I see you over there killing it. Don't worry. You know what I'm saying? The poetry punch will appear over here very soon. But I see you over there for Dora Shop, man. I appreciate you. I definitely dropped the link for you and Nikita's book, man. I'm glad that that's going on. That book is able to be out. Thank you, bro. Thank you for coming through and sharing this with me, man. So, you know I love you, man.
I appreciate it. Love you too, man. I even went and I feel and smell like I'm cleaning. Ain't nobody in here to smell it. That's how clean I need to be.
Lord have mercy, Jesus. All right, man. I'll holler at you later. So, all right, next up, the next artist coming to share for y'all, man. This is, man, me and this brother right here go way back. You know, we Southern family, you know what I'm saying? When he was down in Little Rock, Arkansas, putting it down, really, really blessing that community, both in terms of activism and community and workshops and teaching. And we got a chance to be able to build and have built all over the years, even to being both involved with the Watering Hole, which is an amazing writing retreat for writers of color. And this is a brother that's been putting it down. Sharp, definitely dope podcast out as well. If you want to really dig into the politics and the nitty gritty of things, and this brother can get it there for you. But also, this is the brother that I get to share this opportunity to be on this press with. It's funny because when my collection manuscript got picked up, they were like, "Yeah, there's another one that we're looking really excited about putting both of y'all out." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I saw Mo announce his book, and I saw who was putting it out, and I was like, "Oh!" I hit him up. I was like, "Yo, I'm the other cat." He was like, "Word." I'm like, "Word." And so his book is out. His book came out this fall. It's also on Willow Books, man. And so I'm excited to hear him be able to bless y'all, man. Y'all give it up for Mo, man.
What's good, fam? How y'all living?
Man, living good, man. I'm so happy for you. Happy to be here, man.
You're blessed, man. And you know the thing I love so much about poetry, man. We talk about a lot of people use that term family, but most of them cats is not serious, man. But like like it's been so long since I seen Church, man. It was great to see, where his work is at now. I've been working with you, loving that the new book is out, man. Just like, man, it's just so many poets in the game, so many great poets. And I'm always reminded of Andre 3000 when he's like, the South got something to say, man. And here we go.
So, hey, here we go, man. All right, Mo, take it over, man.
Yo, so if y'all can only buy one book, hold on, let me see. It looks like I froze. Let me see. Is this still going? Okay, good. If you could only buy one book this year, definitely get Shackled Freedom. You know what I'm saying? Black Living in the Modern Poetry South. But if you can get two books, I highly recommend that you get this book also on Willow Books. It is Fables, Foibles, and Other American Sins. And I'm going to read just a couple of poems from here. You know what I'm saying? My work is deeply connected to the political process because I heard it said once by a poet that all poems are political. It's just sometimes the politics is normalcy. You know what I'm saying? And when you're a black male in the South, very rarely are you allowed the the luxury of just writing about your cat. You know what I'm saying? So a little bit of history, man. Most people think that fascism, was only Benito Mussolini and that it ended in World War II. Not many people know that the face of fascism, if you want to be deep into it, you know what I'm saying, was a guy named Francisco Franco. And he came into power in 1939 and he ruled until essentially 1975. You know what I'm saying? And he was a huge influence on why Picasso drew the way he did. And so this poem is called Guernica Still. Because here we are in 2021, still dealing with fascists. Guernica Still. 82 years have died, and we're still lost in this labyrinth of fauna. Faust and horses falling from the sky. The bombs have left the plains of Spain and stay mainly over Baghdad. Look how you Sisyphus. 82 years have died and we're still swinging like fascist flags, flying like good and proud boys. Even now, printing presses may have need for favors and foibles plucked from Foucault's imagination. We are the failing of your most even of feared phobias. Look how you symbol us still. 82 years have died since they flat earthed your canvas. Even now, the oils of surrealists soiling U.S. black and white into a Rubik's brown spill. 82 years since your wrist broke from the wrist of prophecy and the pandemonium of the inks you curdled into a Cuban. I think it's fascinating, right? Because like everybody know, most of y'all know that I came up in Little Rock, Arkansas. That's where I spent most of my bones. You know what I'm saying? That's where I built my poetry career. But I live in DC now, and my backyard is where all that wild shit was happening just 1 week ago. You know what I'm saying? And so like, it don't take a certain degree of prescience. It just take eyes open to see. You know what I'm saying? Coming up in Little Rock, if black boys was together, we was gangs. You know what I'm saying? Even though most of that was just for the protection of us. But when you get these wild dudes together, they get to be Proud Boys. They not a gang. But that group of people ran up into the second most secure location in America. You know what I'm saying? So like fascism here, fascism been here, fascism gonna stay. All we got to do is be prepared, because at the end of the things, they always coming for us, people who look like us. So I'm gonna tell y'all a black boy story about coming up in the rock. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it directly relates to that. The first piece was from Fables. This is from Foibles. Big Timers, Arkansas. Rob was still with us. Taz was there too. Rob's cell released back then with the bell ring. Back then, Taz padded up and showed heart. Together, they were gang and gridiron, and there was a Serbian girl, Slavica, big as her Tercel, big as the body of the Rob, whose big fist was small sauces, big as the company they secretly kept. Together, they did it big. And there was a big brother, Stoyan, awkward, big, hairy, a good 250, and still only the fourth biggest in the double wide. Then the devil snapped, attacked himself, shot for the heart, survived like a proper dumb Rocktown black boy. Us and them roaches, it's what we do. And I'm there, the least of us all. Broken as my overdrafts, hiding from the wife I loathe, foisted on me by the families I feared, fucked from a little pillow kissing session, a little less than safe. And we are smiling, drinking Vignac aged in Baltic oaks. And Rob is swearing by the blood. With all the bullets he swiped from Taz still in his pocket, thinking about spending them in a big way on an out-of-pocket Wolf Street motherfucker that stay talking shit. Slavica is cursing and giggling and flirting and dreaming big about the ways her and Rob will spend a life. I think about that poem a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because so much of that poem is based on things that really happened in my life. You know what I'm saying? Watching all them black boys in the hood I grew up with either be dead or literally be in prison just trying to survive in this world, you know, as the rules are set for us. I'm gonna hit y'all with one more poem, and this is from the last section of my book, American Sins, and it's called Language Lessons. Nah, you know what? I'm audible. Because still thinking about that. Okay, I'm actually gonna hit y'all with the key to hitting for Big Crit. Jefferson's key to productivity, hitting. Backs of blacks, Virginia tobacco needs a hard dark clay tilled with potash and long summer sunlight. You couldn't even believe the enslaved are a pricey investment, an often disrespectful breed. One must oversee like a proper stepdad. Mama Hemmings said to never call him stepdad or stare directly in his eyes. Spare a hitting. He looked at Ma so lecherous, disrespectful. I just try to pick leaves, but forgetting is hard. She ain't young as she once was, and he's still an old ass man who be touching her in ways I don't like. Ma saw my hair, said it needs cutting. Starting to look like Master's texture under his wig. Skip a step. Dad's bloody back is etched in whip patterns that paint a pathway back to another land, a home. Hating is our only hope. Dear God, hoping hurts this hard. And I think you not helping is disrespectful. He hit me again. Say I speak disrespectful. He crossed. Guess he see the Jesus Christ in me, like this burnt copper and kink shorn body, blistered hard, exist only for the pleasure of my stepdad. Ma saw him and cried out. Now she's owed a hitting. Moons are rising, leading yoked oxen, tilling a patch of earth, hoeing is laborious work. A lot of things go wrong. Stony soils, disrespectful. Black cast iron goes dull until a sharp hitting. Feel hands seize moments, casting off collars, running like bucks, running like men for office, just like stepdad, running like oxen, running from whip, running hard, ran like rivers, hiding their scent, making it hard for the hounds to do their task, noses sniffing a snack for the nooses on the gallows. For stepdad, a Jeffersonian kindness. Disrespectful. People say your eyes pop, your neck snaps, tongue bulges like a gorged cock, drunk with the assumption of hitting hard, hitting Ma, disrespectful, hitting him hitting dad, hit me in the fields. It's a lot like stepdad hits because he hates, not hitting. When we talk about American history, it's impossible to talk about the men that framed this country. When I hear things like our 45th president is the worst president we ever had, and yet the first president owned people that look like me. The third president owned people that look like me. In fact, 16 of the last 46 presidents owned people that look like me. No matter how much I may dislike the man that's in this office, and I dislike him a lot, it disrespects every single black ancestor when we act like the people that tried to own us were not infinitely worse. Jefferson was a war criminal and a pederast. And when we talk about American history, those are the other American sins that we got to discuss. If you can only buy one book today, buy this amazing, amazing book from my homie, because it is going to be great work. Dasan, do that work. But if you can get two, Fables, Foibles, and Other American Sins. Thank you much for having me.
Man, yes, links. I dropped the link, man. Y'all check out that book, man. That book is the truth. My brother has been speaking truth to power for a long, long, long time, man. Mo, thank you, man. Thank you for being here. Couldn't imagine going on this journey with someone better, man. And these are two beautiful bodies of work we don't put out here, man. So you know how we do this. This is just a piece along the road. We're gonna keep giving folks this work.
Already, boy. Love you, man. Let's keep this train going.
I love you too. All right. So next up, I'm gonna keep hitting y'all. I'm gonna keep hitting y'all with dope writers. I'm gonna keep hitting y'all in the head. Next up, man, it's my sister right here. Amazing writer, member of the Bull City Slam team. Just killing it. Educator, scholar, also publishes work. Has been putting out some amazing work and working in a lot of literary communities across the state, as well as a curator in Greensboro, putting together some literary events. And I'm excited that she was willing to be here. So without further ado, y'all prepare yourselves for Ashley Lumpkin.
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, sis. How you? You ready?
I'm wonderful. I'm honored to be here.
Man, look, I'm excited that you're here too. So I'm gonna just get out the way and let you do your thing. You know what it is. Rule number 1.
So first I want to say congrats to Dasan on releasing this project. Like I said, I'm incredibly honored to be here. I'm going to do these 3 little poems and get out y'all's way. So the ones that smell like good earth and sunlight, spread wide and green and spilling out, taking all the space on the kitchen table before they even come out the bag, those are the collards that are good enough to be served at grandma's funeral. Remember the scripture grandma said, how God wants a church without spot or wrinkle. Well, we don't want to find those spots in our supper either. So we search the leaves one at a time, picking away what does not serve us, then rip all the good that's left clean away from the stems. Some folks will tell you to save the stems, grandma said. I say Sunday dinner ain't no time to make do. So there they are, a little changed, but not at all worse for the wear. Ready for the first rinse and soak, the first good singing too. You gotta sing to them collards, make them want to do you right. So we sing all the verses to Amazing Grace, slow, just the way grandma likes, and no one cries because then you'll taste the sadness in the pot liquor. But everyone takes a turn getting their hands in the sink. Each takes a turn checking in on the men in the next room, talking bills and burial. The minister asking questions about the funeral, and the greens in the kitchen just holy and clean. The job of cutting the collards goes to the oldest daughter, but she's in the bedroom with the shades all drawn. You got to get the bundles tight, grandma said. Loose collards don't settle, just like loose women, and I won't have either in my house. So we all take turns stacking the leaves, rolling them full and ready to chop. Even the youngest of the cousins has a turn at the cutting board until the whole batch of them is ready for the second wash. That's the secret. Soak them again right before they go in the pot, in water and vinegar and a little salt, and everything else is up to the heat. Everything else is small talk and steaming the dresses, waiting for the morning in the caravan to come, to carry the pots from the kitchen to the church and moan over how good these greens really are, but only after the service. After the men carry the casket round to the back of the church and we sing up some more of that grace, return grandma to the good earth. That's that poem. So right now I'm working on a series of pieces that's based on the types of words, like antonyms, synonyms, and so forth. This piece is called contronym, and a contronym is one word that has 2 opposite meanings. When I say left, I mean the house was empty, a note affixed to the bedroom door. Or I mean my bags were packed, feet ready to run. I mean at one point we were a fine couple, fine as in brilliant or as in ordinary, 2 apologists, one of us weeping, the other taking a firm stand. The heart is the truest contronym, both material and its opposite. I love you. I am on the way home now. I love you. I am letting you go. That's that poem. One of my greatest and truest passions is mathematics. And so I'm always looking for ways to sneak mathematical ideas into my work. And so this piece is not about infinity, but it's sort of based on the two types of infinity. And it's called Cancer Writes a Suicide Note, then Tosses It into the Snow. There is a difference between the countably infinite and that which is uncountable. The rain that falls to water the earth and the vapor it distills to. My students say that thing about always adding one. I ask if there is nothing smaller worthy of addition. There is an infinite number of numbers between 0 and 1. Some of them we have names for, others are just a thought. I am alive today because an old friend thought of me once, reminded me of promises made a third of our lives ago. She asks me to name one thing I am willing to stick around for, then watches me distill that thing down to its vapor. My brother becomes his laughter, becomes the air between his teeth. There is a countable number of atoms there, but no way for me to count them. She asks if I will keep breathing to honor molecules too small to see. A student trips in the hallway and another says, "Go kill yourself." Everyone around the two of them laughs, even the one who's the butt of the joke. I hear the laughter fall to the ground and the sadness it distills to. There is a countable number of suicide attempts of high school students this year, an uncountable number of times they've smiled while sharpening the blade. I am alive today because a teacher saw an off-kilter grin once, asked me to dream of a future with too many joys to count. My student who slipped me a suicide note the third day of sophomore year walks across the graduation stage, and I know that dream is here. Depression is a countable weight, but the days feel so uncountable, an uncountable number of moments between one day and the next. I am alive today because no one has yet decided to kill me. There is a countable number of reasons I will not let it be my own hand. I am alive today because I decided to get out of bed once, decided to eat, decided to shower, decided to live up to my own good name. There are days I am drowned in sorrow and the guilt that it distills to. Days I cannot see the difference between the rain and all this vapor. There's an infinite number of atoms comprising every flood, but I am built to withstand the water. You can count on it. Thank you.
Come on, come on, come on, for real.
You said I couldn't do the Kanye poem, so you know.
Okay. All right. I see what you're doing here. I see what you're doing here, man. Look, I appreciate you being here. You know I love you. So, you know, till the wheels fall off, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man.
All right. So we're gonna keep this thing moving right along. The next poet, this is my other brother right here. It's funny, we began and ended with a Virgo, and let me tell you, there's equally as much trouble dealing with both of them. Okay, let me just tell you the amount of gray hairs I got. But this brother right here, man, we've taken stages all up and down the coast, worked on projects. We've had a live music project. We have been performing at some amazing venues for a while now. We've written together. Both our last books were published by the same press in New York, and we continue in that same journey. With this book, one of the folks that I continue to have conversations with about putting this together, he's both of these cats are designers. Let me tell you about all the conversations I have to go through about the things I'll be trying to put together when both your homies are designers. But he was there with helping to make sure the book cover and everything look pristine, Adobe hints, tips, everything, man. So definitely want to salute his brother because he's a big part of me being able to make this happen. And without further ado, I'm gonna let him come do whatever he's gonna do. So y'all, please give it up for Tai Allen. Of course you are. Of course you are. Of course you are.
Brother, I'm
you know what?
a man from the hood first.
Look, you do whatever you do it, and I'm gonna let you go ahead and rock out, man.
Go, dude. Before we do anything, I want to read this about. I'm gonna read this from Mary Baraka, but I'm gonna make it about Dasan. The artist's role is to raise the consciousness of the people, to make them understand life, the world, and themselves more completely. That's how I see it. Otherwise, I don't know why you do it. I'm Mary Baraka. I read that because I do believe this quote was basically written for Dasan. I've been blessed enough to write and rock with him, and I do know that he has spent his entire life as an artist, an activist, attempting to raise the consciousness of his people, make them understand life and the world and themselves more completely. All right, for the poems. I'm going to read two by me and one by Dasan. So I think we should start off with Dasan first because this is all about him. It's called White Noise. The nape of your neck tastes like licorice. My sweet tooth temptation. I have a diabetic need for you. We are frigid fiends, you and I. A seasonal serendipity. Vanilla ice cream scooped into the mouth of the devil. A spoon never done such dirty work. Gummy bears beneath the small of your back. Snickers between my legs. We are glorious toppings. Lucifer likes to write in pencil. That's sunk into the page like shipwrecked battle cruisers. How easily the night's narrative can be erased. It's a non-committal eloquence, so phrased lies settle between the lines drawn. No feelings, no expectations, just a free write, no structure, a momentary memo to the passion inside us. He writes in cursive, looping J's and big O's, make the dirty look elegant. Even if it's not erased, it will fade into a foggy, foregone conclusion that it was not meant to be. We are robe draped fallacy, choir singing praises to indulgence, a baptismal processional, a wade in the willing, a swung low chariot and a drinking gourd, a blasphemous illusion, a yin yang painting on canvas. We often argue about who is the bad one, about which one of us makes this so damn good. Intertwined, we feel like balance. No wonder we can't let go. This is an empty eggshell amidst the trash we left behind, yoked of any semblance of sustainability, insides poached in promiscuity. We've done this a dozen times already. Toss what's left of our desire for more aside. This cloudy judgment we precipitate from overcast. Our loneliness, sometimes it excites with lightning and thunder. We weather the storm, convinced that one day, the aftermath will be blue sky and rainbow. The White Noise by Dasan Ahanu. And because his poems are so damn long, I'm going to read two short ones because we know Dasan does not like the word brevity. Um, this is from the new book called Love, Hell, and All Right. I took one of my 5% lessons and turned it into an entire book. The book is weird because every poem and every title are actually one big poem. So you can literally read the titles and have a poem. You can read the titles and the poems and have a poem, or just read the poems and have a poem. Contrapuntal at its best. Magnets. Sit me in a space four-walled or open skied, crowded or simple sampled, and I'm joined to noise. Voices who took or lost lives, hands who bury or buried. It's an unproud place, an ugly shadow realm, full of ghosts, not ancestors, and I offer no water or soil. Dirt covers the folly and foul. Hurt and pain remember the what or the why. Chaos will choose or determine the closet and bones crowned in horrible feelings. Those deeds done in mistake or earnest. A closet large of heart that stole dreamers or waywards who will relate to somebody at some point, now cold and dusty and statistical. Death is a null set. We count hoping it diminishes. It used to be my radical measure. Track the headstones, keep up with the sentences, divide by blocks, by family, by friends, by foes. The very last one, because I want to get to what this brother going to do. If my machine will move fast enough, so I apologize for that. Here we go. It's also another quote I want to read that I think we should apply to Dasan here. It's from Ed Roberson, a very dope poet and elder from Rutgers University. I was just there sucking it all up. I didn't know that this was an unusual time. This was what art was supposed to be. So, I just kept working and writing and not really thinking anything was going to happen with it. I was just wanting to know how to do it right and how to do it well. I just wanted to know to be that kind of thing, always doing it right and doing it well. I wanted to end with that because I do believe this brother here are both these quotes. He's about the consciousness of the people. He's about the process of the art. And when you take someone who can be the process and the consciousness, you get Dasan Ahanu. I'm lucky and blessed to call him family. I'm lucky and blessed to rock with him and create dope art. So I want to get out the way, let this cat show you how he is a Murray Baraka of the consciousness, and he is Ed Roberson in the process. Peace, love, congratulations, Dasan. And soon come, there's music attached to these books that we've been producing and making a long time coming. So I'm going to sit back and enjoy my little Kool-Aid and let you do your thing. Love. You're on mute, so no one hear a damn thing you're saying.
Yes, there is music as well. That's coming too. We have been making music. I gotta shout you out for that because if it wasn't for you, this album would not be coming.
That's true. Or the book. It's true.
We're not gonna do this right now. Tai Allen. Bye, Tai. Bye, Tai. Oh, no, I'm not messing. My friends. All right. So before I read, there's one other thing that I have to do. I reached out to one of the homies and I was like, bruh, can you do this forward? And when I tell you the brilliance that I got back, I'm eternally grateful because it sets off the book just right. And man, I mean, this is an amazing poet, a brother that I met. Got to take a moment to shout out Southern Fried, all my Southern Fried family out there. I see you so fried all day, every day. An amazing writer, journalist, scholar, just brilliant, man, just brilliant. The journey he's been on since some of the early conversations we had about this craft and this art form, man, has been a beauty to watch. So I'm glad he's here. So I definitely got to shout him out and chop it up with him just for a minute, man, and definitely make sure that y'all know that I got a chance to get a forward to this book from the one and only Michael Harriet. Mike, where you at, baby? What's going on, Mike?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. I just got to say thank you so much. Everybody who's got a chance to get their hands on the book loves the forward, brother. And I appreciate you so much for putting that down for me.
Man, I was just happy to do it. And like, I love the work. So of course I would do it. So I was just happy to be involved in some way besides buying it, of course.
Man, look, I appreciate you so much, man. And I definitely wanted to give you your flowers right now for being such a big part of this project. It would bless my heart. I don't care if it bless nobody else's heart. Yeah, before we put you back in the background, you spit something for me. I'd appreciate it.
Man, this pandemic, I had done poetry in so long. Let me see. Okay, here's one. And then Malik raised his hand. Now, usually he said nothing during show and tell, and I was surprised as hell. So of course I called him next. And Malik, he took a deep breath and he said, hey, me and my family, we went to SeaWorld and we saw the dolphins and the fishes and the octopuses. Look, I know it's octopi, but look, he's 7 years old. And then this lady came out and she was riding on the back of this killer whale. His name was Malik, just like mine. But then she fell off. and I could see bubbles in the water, and then the whale, he dragged her down, and then they said she was dead. The whole class fell silent until someone in the back shouted out, "Hey, nigga, why you think they call it a killer whale?" I tried to console Malik above the laughter for having witnessed something so tragic, but his eyes were wet with the memory of misery, and he said, "Nah, it was kind of beautiful, actually." And this poem is a whale, not a glam whale, not a open mic whale, just a whale. Now we can pretend as if it is free, like it got here organically, not some jumbled cacophony of syllables fashioned to fit my mouth and leap through teeth and hoops for applause or scores. This poem is supposed to soar like a whale, like Malik, like me, like we, or whales, were once free until we were dragged into this sea, fool calling a home and taught to trick for dinner fish. One day, they're going to turn Malik into a marionette and make him forget the travesty of what they did to the whale bodies who refused to leap through the hoops for food. See, Malik eat free lunch, but Malik ain't dumb. He contemplates freedom, fantasizes about biting the hands that feed him. We will swallow you whole, and then clean the spaces between our teeth with the remnants of the wishbones that held the whips that they trained us with. 10 years later, I was a journalist covering the Baltimore Freddie Gray uprisings, and I was eating breakfast in this posh Baltimore diner. And the cover of the Baltimore Sun, there was a boy preparing to throw a Molotov cocktail into the window of a drugstore window. Now, the headline caption said, "Boy, comma, unnamed." But I could see that it was Malik James. And my breakfast companion, she said, "Man, ain't it a shame how they riot instead of marching or writing poems or singing whale songs?" But I remembered him and what they thought would happen, how they called him a thug, a killer, a whale, Malik, me, we. And my eyes were wet with the memory of misery when I said, "Nah, it was kind of beautiful, actually." Thank you.
I appreciate you, Mike, man. And so I do have a question. One of the things that, I'm big on, and I talk a lot about, is about being Southern and navigating the rest of this country as a writer, and what it means to continually have to carry that, knowing that, you don't just carry your ability and the way that you can frame things and the way that you can weave things together, but you also carry a Southernness. And so, how has that been for you with everything that you've been able to navigate and all the spaces that you've been able to put this work, being Southern and carrying that and continuing to push at the perception of what a Southern scholar and writer and thinker is?
Well, I always think that, like, being Southern, especially being Black and from the South, you get the distilled essence of America, right? Like, everything that you see in the West and the North and in the Midwest is kind of, especially as a Black person, Black culture is like just an extended Southern culture, right? Even when you talk about Brooklyn, when you talk about LA, it's all just a bunch of niggas from Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Really. So I always like to point that out, and I always like to reflect that like the South is not just like where it began, but it is where it is. Everything else is kind of a version of what the purest essence is here. And I also like, and this is what I wrote about in the foreword, and why I think your work is important, is because, like, it's not just mired in tragedy and pain, right? Like it's like one of the things I am conscious of doing when I write, and in every instance, right, is bringing joy to it, right? Because I really truly like being Black, and I truly like being Southern, and it's more joy than it is pain. And I want people to know, like, the essence of Blackness ain't pain, ain't slavery. It's like the overcoming part is better than the pain part. And so I think that's important to know when you talk about writers in the South and any kind of art form.
Thank you, Mike, man. I appreciate you. And that's so beautifully said, man. So I'm glad you were able to be here. I definitely wanted to make sure we got a chance to chop it up. And I thank you once again.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right. So now it's time to talk about this book, man. This thing here. I just want to give a shout out to Gemini Evolving, an amazing visual artist. She is responsible for this cover art. My last book, which was the beginning of this focus on Black life, called Everything We're Fighting For, an Exploration of Being Black in America. Gemini was the artist for that cover. That art is back there on the wall. That was the cover of that book. As I move through this series, she's the artist that I want to represent these books, man. She's my twin, and I love her dearly. So that's been another aspect. There's so much of this that is completely intentional. And, you know, what Michael said is that, man. The thing about it is I've always believed that people are painted and presented narrowly because it's easier to manipulate an understanding of them. It's easier to manipulate an impression of them when they're painted narrowly. But when you can broaden and widen the scope of who people are, then it's harder, because you're looking at something that is so authentically and so bold and beautifully, like something special. It's hard to believe all the bullshit that you're hearing. And when it comes to the South, like, one of the things about being Black and from the South is having to bear the burden of being the hidden in the closet of this country. And in order to maintain that, we get presented very narrowly. And it's just something that I've always had a problem with and always been upset about. And so, with that being said, what I wanted to make sure that I always do is with my writing is that I continue to present us whole. The ups, the downs, the loves, the joys, the faith, the worries, the concerns, all of it. I just want to make sure that we're presented whole. And so that's what this book is about, that I'm getting ready to share from. And I want to share all that with you now. I think the best way to do that is to start with the intro. I'm Southern. I'm Black. I'm an artist. I walk in a rich, beautiful, and powerful tradition. This book is my contribution to that tradition. It is my way of honoring everyone who helped me understand what it means to be a Black Southern artist. It is a way of repaying the belief in me shown by so many people in my life. The South made me, raised me, and gave me my platform. From the cookouts to the church house, I've seen the impact of vivid storytelling, passion, and conviction. I have witnessed the power of a good word. I've shared space with some of the most amazing blessings. I have learned from some of the most amazing and endearing soothsayers. I carry all of that with me, and I funnel it into my art. I know some will still see Black folks in the South as less than. I see the joy, the struggle, the hurt, the fight, the strength, and the magic. I know that we are so much more than many want to acknowledge down here. We love, we fight, we dream, and we won't let ourselves be defined in any way that ain't of us, from us. We're determined down here. We're proud down here. We're full of life down here. As long as I have breath in my body and a pen in my hand, I will never let anyone forget that. We're going to go ahead and just jump through this, man. And y'all bear with me, because, you know, my brother Todd always talks about the length of the poems, but we're going to make this happen. First thing I think is important is that we talk about down home. They act like the sun shine different down here. Like the dirt too dark for repentance. Like civilized stopping the Mason-Dixon. They say guilt dense as fog east of the Mississippi. Say it sure sound like selective amnesia around here. So you can still smell the ash in the air, plantations, crosses, hay, trash, pit cookers, stump holes still, churches, but don't we walk like resilience in spite of? Smile like a belief in the up on high, laugh like cotton was tickling the field hollers out of us. Each house is a hymnal down here. Each penny-colored cheek is a joyful noise, you know, the kind the noose is supposed to silence. Down here is a boot camp for the forgotten. Mud trudge, weeds pulled, dirt dominated. We know planting, tilling, picking, feeding, feasting. We know ain't no tomorrow better realized than by hard work and redemption. We know that backwoods ain't the opposite of progress, that dirt roads don't mean deserted, that hospitality ain't a subtle surrender down home. We know they see us as natural disaster. I say, ain't we calm in the eye of the storm? Ain't we the American dream's guilty conscience? Ain't we the best example of make something out of nothing to wade in the water and swing low? Ain't we a blues lick and a second line reverie? Ain't we joyful noise on Sundays? Ain't we chitlin circuited genius from Gulf to the Great Lakes? Ain't we spread on table? Ain't we the clothes on your back? Ain't we the yesterday you want to so desperately forgetting the tomorrow you can't make without us? Ain't we magic? Ain't we here? Ain't we gonna be here? Ain't we life, love, joy, overcoming, glory, glory, hallelujah? Ain't we an amen? Ain't we? Ain't we? Amen. Sometimes they tend to forget, or try to forget about us, about these sides of town that we live in, these communities that we have built. What's funny is they forget about us, and then when we hold these communities together, and they be quick to try to show up and regulate. As if you didn't just leave us over here. They call joy reckless, where dim asphalt and heavy shoulders comprise the first place that the city forgot, a place where Mama's God and Uncle Lester's Jim Beam make the pain easier to forget. This place where laughter dances under street lights and smiles billboard the corner store and hallelujahs fill the pews beneath stained glass, a place whose heroes stand picturesque on cardboard stapled to popsicle sticks or airbrushed on the front of dulling t-shirts. This place that be heavily patrolled, underfunded and bastardized because of the black and brown polymer used to weave resilience around these parts. It cannot be erased, it cannot be bleached, burnt, or bloodied less than. It cannot ever be demonized or stigmatized into disappearing. We will never let its beauty become foreign to our eyes, never let its taste become bland to our tongues, never let its smell become anything less than grease and freedom, never let its sound become any less than a joyful noise, and never let its touch become anything other than a welcome embrace home. That's this place. So one of the things I think about is what it means to be down here and to walk amongst this nature that's been carrying so much truth for so long. Poetry punch. What does it mean to walk this dirt that's been carrying the legacy of black sweat and black blood and black tears for a long time? What does it mean to walk this pavement, so much of it laid with black hands? What does it mean to walk amongst these trees? And it's crazy because I woke up one night and I came out of this dream. It was this lucid dream that started with me looking out my window and up at the top of the hill, seeing just these two trees, these two twins. And this happens to me often. The moment that I was aware of the dream and able to recognize what was going on, the words of the poem started coming. And a lot of times when this happens, I got to make a decision. Am I going back to sleep or am I getting up and starting to jot? And this time I got up, grabbed my phone, and I just started grabbing whatever I could in this kind of dazed off state. Everything, I purged, put the phone down, went back to sleep, got back up later, and sat, pulled up what I had. And that was the beginning of this, which is called Dreams of Where the Noose Called Home. I look atop a hill and see twins, arms stretched, haggard skin, blowing in the breeze with their friends. They wear frowns now. But I believe at one time they were smiling until they had to see those who were bought, buried beside their roots. Ain't that what devils do with the truth? A wooden embrace slumped by ropes, wrapped around the throats of sopranos hung bass notes when caught. And ain't that how you show devils come covered at midnight? And don't you hang fallen angels as proof? There ain't been enough kisses in fall to erase the picnics of summer. Ain't been enough Easter egg hunts to erase the sound of March steps and torches. Daddy tried to tie a swing to a branch once. Twins saw the tie and cringe, started to bend. First strong breeze, we found that limb on the ground, tire laying on a bed of leaves, knotted noose dangling. We didn't know what happened, so Daddy tried it again. It happened again. Why did it keep happening? Ain't that what we've been asking for years? I guess that's what that tree knew best. When you're worn down by all you've had to tread, what you know you need most is rest. We played hide and seek there once, twice, but it never quite felt right. We never tried hide and go get it because the last time someone did it, John escaped in the middle of the night with his son and his wife and them trees. They remember them men and hounds set out in the dark, them trees will always remember what it means to be found because they will always carry with them that bark. They will always remember that crack when insolence was rewarded with the portraits of trees whipped into black backs. Them trees be knowing. See, them trees be griots, telling tales of the rise that's possible in the darkness that looms. Them trees be tombs. Ask Isis and Osiris about what can be raised from them trunks. No, these trees be pyramids pointing toward heaven. From roots spread wide, open them up, ain't the riches of rings and the wisdom of ages found inside. They tell me that some used to say that everything you needed to know about faith was in the woods, because them twins out in them fields, they knew. They said, don't you dream like them trees split like the Red Sea? Ain't that big house where Pharaoh be? Ain't the other side of that forest like New Testament? Don't them leaves fall and resurrect 3 months later? Then they have church in the clearing. Wasn't them stumps the first altars, pastors elevated to spread that gospel? Ain't they been replacing God with men that there be an evangelical farce? Mama Nature say, look at her babies. See how they've grown. They say their father been known for immaculate conception, but rarely do he get credit for tending to these others. Them twins ain't fooled. Devils want them believe bastards so that when they get chopped down, don't nobody cry for sap spilled, for their sisters and brothers killed. That ain't that real familiar. Me and them trees be kindred. Me and them trees be understanding. That's why when we meet, both haggard, heavy, and frowning, we be happy to see each other still standing. So, there's so much, man. There's so much to be said about what's in this book. But it is. I wanted it to be, you know, just a representation of so much. But I am going to do this because I know my mama don't have her copy of the book yet, and at some point in time, she's going to go back and look at this live. So let's go ahead and get this out the way real quick. This is called A Beautifully Imperfect Dedication. For my whole career, I've been trying to write the perfect poem for my mother, only to realize that she is the perfect poem. That's it. That's the highlight of what I've come up with. Simple lines I'm sure other poets have danced with, have sat and looked after with the same smile our Savior spreads across the heavens when he looked at the earth below and on the seventh day said it might be good, but she is good. This poem isn't about my mother. It's about how she deserves so much more than this poem, because to me, she is perfect. What's crazy and what's so important is, I remember when I did my first, I dropped my first album, and for many people know me for a poem called Brown Bag Daddy. And my mama, in true sarcastic fashion, which is where I get it from, was like, you out here writing poems about your daddy. When you gonna write something for me? And so there's a song on that album that talks about her and her raising me with an amazing vocalist. And she was so proud of that song. My mom, that album came out in 2007. My mama still rides around with that CD in her car now. But since then, I've been like, there's just nothing that ever felt right. And I wrote that first stanza, and I shared it with a friend, and they were like, and And I'm like, I know it's cliche. I know it's cliche. And they were like, all right, so then what you gonna do? And so the rest of it was to make sure, both as a poet, to understand what I was doing in that moment, because it was cliche and it was cheesy, but it was necessarily cheesy because it's both a hug and a kiss on the cheek from my mama. And so that's what that's about. But you also, you know, we're gonna do this. We gotta talk about love now. So there's a love poem in here. I've and there's also a poem about, you know, about saying goodbye to love. But for all my single people out here, here's a little piece about that in between space when you're trying to figure it out, called "Can We Overcome?" For those that know me, they know that I have a fascination for metaphor and symbolism and archetypes. And one of the things about writing is there's a muse and there's an inspiration for what I want to say. I grew up very observant, very, you know, just curious. But from the time that I see something and process it to the time that I like put it down, this is all kinds of things that happen. And so this is one of those examples for all of the homies, especially my Bull City fam, who always joke about what I be doing in poems. If y'all ever saw how this started to get to where it is, y'all would laugh. I'm at this bar across from a daydream, with eyes like a Birmingham jail, held me captive long enough for me to envision an opus that will move us closer to overcoming this barrier to a monumental love. Forced to face the realization that she sees me lesser, unworthy, me sitting in with the hope that she will understand the humanity of the man I am. She say it's gone too far. I ain't worth equal footing beside her at an altar down an aisle. All I'm good for is midnights and hard labor, then back to the other side of town. I want to fight for what I feel, but nonviolent resistance is the only way I can imagine a change that's best for both of us. I want church in the holy of her heart. She wants me to march the Selma and Montgomery along her thighs until our moans become chants of jubilation. I can't stop hoping and dreaming, knowing optimism can quickly become desert deceit, that illusions can take hold when you've become parched since the last wet taste, thinking you might would rather be dehydrated. Hell, I just want to indulge with the one I promised the rest of my life. I mean, if there is a dawn, then there damn sure is going to be another night, but I'm thinking too deep. Was here having a civil conversation, right? Here I am tripping like I don't know how to act. So, as an extension of that, segregated 1950. My purpose, my love life, segregated like white only and black only water fountains. I battle with the privilege of one while fighting for the freedom and happiness of the other. All right, we're gonna move on. We ain't gonna talk about dating. It's another conversation for another reading. We here to talk book and southernness and blackness. We are not here to talk about love lives. So one of the other things that became really obvious to me in terms of being Southern is also a spoken word artist. Now, I'm a poet and a spoken word artist. I'm very proud of the fact. I will say that till I'm blue in the face. I am not ashamed of being a performing artist and loving hip hop, being a spoken word artist and being Southern. I just haven't experienced people turn a yarn, you know, or sit and sip and tell stories like I have down South. And I'm very proud to be in that tradition. I ain't heard a Sunday been turned into jubilation and make the earth shake like I've seen down South, and I'm proud to walk in that tradition. But when you carry certain traditions, one of the things that happen is that very oftentimes that strength and that beauty and that brilliance can be used to call you less than. When you walk in a literary community, sometimes as part of the gatekeeping that happens is that background can be used to call you less than. One of the things I had to learn early on is, okay, well, cool, I'm not changing. What I am going to do is I'm going to do the research and do the work to be able to place what we do in proper context. So that when we have these conversations, like, and you act like what we do ain't of craft and it ain't of scholarship, then I can quickly articulate the tradition and lineage of these gifts that we hold. And then at that point in time, I'm done having the conversation. You can persist, but we done at that point. When I can articulate, both in terms of my performance, my artistic thinking, and my writing, the legacy and lineage, right? And in modern poetry, I start with the Black Arts Movement. And I think about the Great Migration and what that means. And then I work my way back down through all of the other kind of things until we end up in a Baptist or an AME or an Episcopal church. You know what I'm saying? And so I said that to say that I don't do the Black poets I don't do the Black Southern poets can't write. I don't do that thing. We're not doing that. But with that, one of the things I was kind of and I'm not with the we don't know form. We know form. We also just don't care whether you like the form we use. What we do know is what it means to the people that we touch and that we reach with the forms that we write. But I wanted to think about including in this book something created by me, and it's a form that I've been playing with for a while. It's basically it starts with 3 haikus and it ends with a haiku. Between the first 3 haikus and the last haiku, what's in the middle of the body of the poem is a series of stanzas that both highlight and explain the haikus, but also forward the story until we close with the final haiku. And so there's 10 stanzas total. So I call it a dime. This piece is called Dime Piece, P-E-A-C-E. And it's the first piece that I feel like truly represented the form, and I wanted it to be in here. I've tried to get a couple other people to write these joints, and folks be looking at me sideways, but 3 haikus, 1 at the end. That's your 4 stanzas. In the middle are 6 stanzas. With those 6 stanzas, you want to make sure to expound on the first 3 haikus and then also forward the story, bring it all together, and close with the last haiku. 10 stanzas total. It's called a dime. Here we go. A tree falls loudly in a forest with no one around. A deaf man chuckles. Trying hard to forget, he painted his mirror black. It still reflects him. White chalk on concrete, the devil loves to draw portraits on the sidewalks. 4 months after a black dress goodbye, a young dreamer with a box of burst balloons and a cup of broken pencils finger paints a Dear John letter to the blissful ignorance we tend to hold so dear. Too often she has been betrayed by lead and pens, so she would rather the message be delivered by the 5 fingers of her hand. She just wants to feel the words. This brilliant griot is a psychic and a sorcerer, brings to life the stories whispered amidst the breath of the city from 6 a.m. to dusk. Some of them come from an uncle considered crazy, a bellowing empath mocked for what seems to be random senility, but only God knows that the exchange of money and narcotic is the catalyst for that laugh. This talented wordsmith has been writing fantasy since she was 7, called a liar by those who refuse to believe her when she says her father was taken by the monsters in his closet. They can't seem to grasp the concept that the uniforms hanging there stole his soul. He darkened his reflection, figuring if he doesn't have to be reminded of the dreams in his eyes every morning, he can leave again to do what he has to do for his family. This lonely daydreamer has conversations with her invisible friend often. Those 8 bullets only ended his time on this earth, not in her heart. She confides in him. Every hope, aspiration, and intention considers it an honor to live for her and him. Black boy treated as invisible before is just gone now. She was taught that any man, arm, leg, arm, head, willing to pay hard for a week's pay and get his hands dirty, can poem his life beautiful, can write his family taken care of. But she has watched each line fall flat, dead to the world, dead inside, or dead and gone. 9 lines used up, no lives left. None of them destined for published promise. None of them fit for bound spine or happy ending. She paints each haiku in her notebook like magic, trying to cast a spell to reverse the curse her family has become. There is a palette across her fingertips, a mosaic of hope in her heart, a masterpiece on her canvas that says, I'm here now. I will be here tomorrow. A will in her spirit that says blessings gonna come and hurt ain't gonna last. A fire in her soul raging with passion and determination. Heaven's apprentice learnt the marvel of creating at a young age. So watch her call light out of the dark. Watch her call life from the mud. Watch her raise her passion from the dead and craft a living everyone will believe in. My God. What a glorious sight it is to see this artist at work. What's funny is Wendy always tells me I don't know how to be pedestrian, and I saw her talking about how it's so unnecessarily complicated. So because this is the first one, it also has the numbers 1 through 10 in the poem. So 1, 2, 3 are numbers, the haikus, and from there inside of the poem it has the numbers 4 through 10. In the 8th stanza, the 8th stanza talks about her and these haikus, and it starts off where she was taught any man, arm, leg, arm, head, willing to work for a week's pay, 7 days, and get his hands dirty, 575. So yeah, so that's just for you, Wendy. just for you. So I'm not gonna hold y'all much longer, and I'm not getting ready to read y'all the whole book either. So some of these pieces, some folks have heard. The spider poem is in here. Black Holiness is in here. That my pieces dedicated to my mom, my aunts, and my grandmothers. Conversation with God is in here. And so, you know, these poems that matter so and mean so much to me are all here. So I'm gonna just share a couple more, and then I'm gonna thank y'all for being here and get out your way. What I think about a lot is I remember getting a chance for the Slam team to be able to do a show with Sonia Sanchez, and the brilliance that for her, the brilliance there. So funny, you know, being trained as a community organizer, I used to hear from some of the elders so much about Sonia Sanchez and her connection to Black movement struggles, and just, you know, if we were going to be poets, that's somebody we need to look to. And I did, you know, I really looked to her and her work, but just being able to be around her, her presence. And there are some pieces in here that are inspired. This piece is inspired by her. There's a piece in here inspired by Yusuf Kumayaka. Like, there's so many inspirations to some of these pieces in terms of Black writers. And this piece is called 5 on the Black Hand Side. It is a series of 5 haikus. 1, Daddy, when will they value Black life? When it's sold on eBay. 2, a precious grain of fear. A Black queer woman with a plan and a bullhorn. 3, when Reagan dropped welfare queen, it also went pop and took over the airwaves. 4, I don't know the riches of the tombs of pharaohs, but I do know that big glass bottle of change sitting in the corner of Mama's bedroom. She really still has that big bottle of change. 5, Big Mama ain't never known no other love than full and whole and God. That big bottle of change should have seen my mischievous little tail trying to figure out how to reach my hand in there and try to pull out some change. Hoping I don't get my hand stuck, because then I'm going to get my hand stuck, look foolish, and get my butt whipped. Certain things you just got to know not to do. All right. There's some heavy poems. I feel like that we gotta just let y'all know the book is available anywhere, online, anywhere you can buy books. You can go, you can go look. You can Shackled Freedom, Black Living in the Modern American South. The book is available. You can buy it. It's out there right now. Get yours if you don't already have it. I was thinking about, being involved in social justice work and being, especially here in the midst of all the talk about monuments. I sat down and I wrote this poem called The Gospel of John. And particularly in the midst of the madness around Silent Sam on the campus of the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and just everything that went on around the statue. Statue that's not really necessary for anything other than preservation of losing and the intent to be a reminder and an assertion of a misguided sense of power. Like there's just no purpose and intent for this thing at all. I saw CJ Suit was on here earlier and has a beautiful poem about that in comparison to another statue that sits on that campus, and just the contrast of it all. So I wrote this called The Gospel of John because there's so many things I see that just don't make good sense, and it's just amazing how far white supremacy will go to make sense out of foolishness, for no other reason than for it to make sense means that we make sense. And when we make sense, then so much of what they do starts to look like it actually is. One southern midnight, I noticed a crow on the shoulder of a monument honoring a Confederate general in the middle of a park grown rich green and fertilized by black blood. Watched it shit on the shoulder of a drunk white man in layers of frayed cotton, propping himself up against the statue. He is so drunk with guilt, he does not notice the shit over his shoulder. Southern hospitality and grandmama's kitchen table sermons lead me to ask if he is okay. He says he is better than me. I laugh at the irony. I tell him he needs to eat something to soak up the white tears too strong a proof for him to keep himself composed. I offer him my pancakes covered in mammy syrup and a blessing. He told me to go to hell. I'm not surprised at how he felt my loaves and fish were a blasphemy, how false idols, ritual, and spirited escape had robbed him of his ability to recognize truly the face of God. I left him there begging a false prophet for an exorcism, knowing he will remember our exchange as a healthy dialogue, knowing he will consider the passing of time as progress, knowing he will wake in the morning and call his hangover post-racial. Now, this is the last poem, and I feel like this is the way that I wanted to end the book. I wrote this poem in the middle of a few things that were going on in poetry. This poem is a call out to white elitism, whether that comes from white people or whether that is performed by folks who feel like they have to uphold it in order to be accepted and included. What that means to other writers of color to watch their heroes decide that they want to align themselves with white elitism, and what happens when it becomes very clear that it doesn't serve anybody and it all falls apart. There's been a couple of significant moments in poetry where that has fallen apart, and it's amazing to watch who goes where. Those folks who have subscribed to it feel like that their whole life has crumbled around them because they were subscribing to something that was an illusion of grandeur in the first place. It's happened in Poetry Slam. It's happened in literary. It's happened in various literary spaces. This past summer, when chickens came home to roost, we saw it. We saw folks suddenly turn to these institutions, these systems, and call them out. We also saw them have to reconcile with what it meant to be calling out a system and an institution that they had benefited for so long and were a part of helping keep other people out of. What does that mean when you finally decide to stand up to it? When you have to also think about all the people you held at arm's bay. And remembering that the reason why it all happened was because there were some white folks in the room who decided that having too many of us in there with them might change the landscape of what's considered to be craft. For white poets, when rainbow colored our girl is not enough, some will not listen. So we will write loud and resilient. We will speak Birmingham, Bayard, Lord, Rivera, Bruja, Sleeping Car Porter, South Bronx, Wilmington, move our truth, our truth, our truth. We will recognize that colonialism can be grant funded, can charge at the door, can win board seats, can look good on video, can rename Hallowed Ground Conference or workshop or slam. We will understand that some have taken imperialism and renamed it programming. We will understand why shade is never set right with the black of us, because shade trees are where they gawked at gasping angels and called it night, called it right and just. Our trauma and pain has been fit for applause for years. We will understand why collateral damage is never set right with the rest of us, because we have been treated as an unintended consequence of this art form, seen their allyship become urban renewal. They easily propagandize the benefit in the rising property value of their representative voice and page. It is a gentrification we have seen before. We will gather like church basement, like wood clearing, like fireside, like ring shout, like corner cipher, like dinner table, like juke joint. There we will teach craft. We will train alchemists. We will love. We will heal. We will grow. We will realize that some have made this art adornment and claimed it validated them royalty. We will burn their thrones. We will melt their crowns and use them to craft carrots for their tears. For too long, reverence has been their hiding place. For too long, they've worn us like armor and held us close like shields. Some will not listen. We will never quiet. They will hear. They will know. And they will learn. They're going to learn. They're going to learn. I want to give a shout out to Black Jedi Zulu, Z's Up. I want to give a shout out to Southern Fried. And also want to make sure I shout out Black on Black Rhyme, especially my true Black on Black Rhyme Carolina's Flow Official. Back talk for all the Southern writers, for all the Southern artists, for all my family all across the country, for everybody tuned in. I appreciate y'all for being here. For everybody, man, for Ty, Mo Man, Ashley, Church, for, oh my God, for Michael, man. I appreciate you, man. I look up to you, bro. And every time I see you move, a writer put pen to paper and inspires me, makes me go harder, man. So you keep doing it. You move a lot of us. This has been a beautiful moment. Rhea, man, I gotta shout you out, man. The Fifth Woman, Beyond the Spark, an amazing web series. I got a chance to be a part of a reality poetry web series. Make sure y'all go look for it on YouTube. Beyond the Spark, The Fifth Woman. Season 2 is getting ready to start, so if you want to be a part of it, make sure you go look out for that. It's a beautiful thing, man. There's so many people I can shout out, so many flowers I could give, so many of my mentees, my fellow poets, so many of my writers. Yeah, man, I appreciate all of y'all being here and sharing in this with me and hanging around. I know, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot of time, man. Y'all hung in there with me. So what we get ready to do, before we close out, we're going to put up the information. The book, once again, is available, all online retailers. Willow Books, shout out, man, Heather and Randall, for making this happen. Willow Books is an award-winning division of Aquarius Press. Willowlit.net, Willowlit.net is how you can go to their website, find out about all the writers that are there. Randall is the editor there, man, and I've known Randall for a long time. To watch his journey has also been an inspiration, and it's a pleasure to be able to be a part of this process with him. If anybody out there is interested in reviewing the book, holler at us. Tell everybody and your mama about the book, and we're going to keep pushing. Be on the lookout. We got some more promotional stuff coming down the pipe to help promote and spread the word about the book. And I'm also excited because Willow believed enough in the book to put some pieces forward and nominate them for the Pushcart Prize. So y'all look out, y'all put something in the air for your boy as we continue on this journey. So thank y'all. God bless y'all. And I'll holler at y'all later.